Alright, I'm going to try and make this one really quick. Might have to do 2 videos for this one, but this is pretty much the solo-ish build for Totem, which is pretty much for beginners. You have your Muck, your basic attack, slows, reduces damage that the enemy does. You can use Droplet as well, but honestly, Muck is superior, other than if you're looking for flat damage, but still, Muck. Banish, I only recommend it for solo use, because of the fact the bubble that you can get is superior in cooldown and doesn't actually stun the target rather than root the target, even though it does show a root when you get hit by it on the debuff bar. Oh no, it's just stun, my bad. So yeah, that's a stun. Revitalize, obviously, heal yourself, can heal others, so I mean you still have that healing potential. You cannot stack these two. Your Revitalize would have to have 6 seconds left on the heal over time before... No, sorry, it would have to be 4.5 or lower on Revitalize before Banish would kick in, so don't use these two at the same time. Toxic Spray, it's a AoE cone that does damage over time. It roots your targets, so they can't break out of it with freedom or anything like that unless they get crowd control immunity. They will constantly get rooted. It will not interrupt them if they're stashing anything in a building or in their stash. So it's really just for, say if an enemy uses Captivating Sprint and you notice it, you can root them and now you just wasted their sprint. And then you can always turn away if you don't want to give them more determination, but you cannot cancel that early. Poison, must have, always, just like Revitalize. It does damage over time, it does direct damage. It's pretty much your DPS ability, your bar at all times. Even if you could just do that on a target every so often, it is worth it. But outside of that, you have your general 3-button fucking leather armor setup. Well, 4 actually. Captivating Sprint, Drain Life, Zephyr, and Freedom. So you have your crowd control removal for roots and slows. You have your mobility. You also have your energy regen, which is pretty much a must on Totem if you're going support. Like, you want leather. Leather is the superior Totem armor, at least for support. You can do it with Robe as well, but it really requires you to be able to hit draining bursts, so pretty much ignore Robe for Totem unless you really just want to experiment with it. You can do Splint Mail, which is kind of interesting if you use Energy Drain, but that's also very situational, but you can make it work on Splint Mail. Obviously your Drain Life, which, you know, it doesn't seem like a lot at first, like, you know, like, ooh, look, 17, but then you hit yourself with this. You know, it actually pumps it up quite a bit, so that's pretty handy. We still have a decent amount of time on this video as well. So you'll notice I have Smoke Screen because I run it when I'm solo. Obviously, you know, stealth, reposition, can go out, can go in, can attack while I'm in it, you know, that kind of shenanigans. Very good ability for solo play. Sneak attack is also a good substitute. I would say tumble, but it's really not worth it. I really only have tumble for other weapons. But as for other things you can do on this build, you could use suppression instead of smokescreen if you want to get that level 10 debuff, which I believe puts it up to like 7 or something. Yeah, 7.5 seconds for a 50% damage reduction, which is pretty strong, but generally not what I would use. When we're going support, this is pretty much your bar. Your heal other, your revitalize, all that, and then your bubble, which it doesn't state in the description, but it gives you an immunity bubble for half of the duration. You will notice I do not have energy drain leveled. Now, that's because of the fact that energy drain will increase your opponent's movement speed by a significant amount. So yes, it is hilarious in fights if they're required to stay near you, but in open world, if you use energy drain and you don't have the ability to stop them in place, it is not worth using energy drain. They will get away every single time. But if you can use it, go right ahead. This ability sucks to get hit by. Because, I mean, once you get it to level 10, it's like, I think it's like 400 or so. No, it's not 400. It's like 320. 350, sorry. But that's a good chunk of energy you're draining every so often. like every 6 seconds with my current setup. But ultimately, this is the build you want to look for when you're running in a group and you want to support. As for abilities, you should get last. Your protective bubble should be last. You definitely want to focus on, obviously, your Revitalize, your Toxic Spray. Your Poison you can pass between that and Heal Other depending on what your team needs. And then that's pretty much it for your other abilities. It's pretty standard. When you start out on Leather, you're going to have Captivating Sprint and Drain Life, but you're going to want to swap those out to Freedom when you get your second slot in your armor. Your third slot, you definitely want Zephyr, but if you don't have a reason to use Captivating Sprint early, get Zephyr as your second ability. Then as your third, you can choose between Drain Life and Captivating, but it's pretty much going to most likely be your Captivating, and then your Drain Life would be your final Leather armor skill. But this is pretty much how you want to look. You can heal the target, give it a bubble. It's going to not take any damage for that duration, and you're pretty much going to delete every bit of damage the enemy can throw on that target. Like, there's nothing they can do about that at all. Nothing they can do. And when you level up Zephyr, which on this kind of setup, I probably would have taken out my points on Drain Life. I use Drain Life on my other weapons because it's superior. For a support build, Zephyr first because that 5 extra seconds of regeneration is a big, big, big deal. It is a 20-second cooldown, obviously. If you raise that all the way up to 20 when you can, it's up all the time. But if you can get it to level 10, 5-second downtime, you're pretty set for a long, 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 long time. But that's pretty much Totem.